It is our absolute pleasure to be joined by the new head coach for OU men's basketball. Porter Moser is in the house. Coach, what is going on? You all settled? Everything in place there? Norman, you all good, man?
I'm here. I'm not settled yet because there's been no time to settle, man, and it's hard for me to settle. But no, you and I were talking before. Just it's a good busy. It's a great busy. You know, it's you're putting together a team. You're working your guys out. You're meeting people. You're getting acclimated to the OU family and the passion that goes along with this fan base. So it's all a good busy. It's just I'm still trying to move my family here and all those things are blessed, man. So I'm excited.
I can't imagine the family is reluctant at all. Chicago to Oklahoma, a little bit of culture shock there. And you and your wife, lifelong Chicagoans, right?
No, my wife's actually from Austin, Texas.
Oh, okay.
I moved her up north to the snow. So she's excited to get back to some warm weather. But yeah, I have 4 teenagers. I got a junior and freshman in college and a junior and freshman in high school. And we just substituted the pizza for some barbecue. It's a perfect transition. And I swear we're having barbecue like 4 times a week now. It's so good down here.
Porter, you had built something so special at Loyola. Why OU? Why now? Why was the timing perfect for you to make this move?
You know, so I was at Loyola, and you put your name on something, it's hard to give up. You know, it was ranked 340 out of 350 in Division I, and they had 27 losing seasons in the previous 30 before our coaching staff took over, and then we built it up to multiple conference championships, a Final Four, a Sweet 16, and after the Final Four, it was just kind of crazy about jobs, and I just nothing seemed right to me. And I just felt like I wanted to not be that guy that just jumps after one run. And we made another one this year with almost a whole new team, except 2 guys. And again, there was a number of jobs circling and just nothing really hit home with me until I sat down with Joe Castiglione. And it really how he laid out what Oklahoma's about and the atmosphere amongst all the coaches and the student athletes and the community and the fan base and everything aligned what I was looking for. You know, a guy like Lon Kruger's been here 10 years. In our profession, we know how much of a high character guy Lon is. He does it the right way. He covets a lot of the same things I do. And I just felt like this was the place that you could stay a while, stay a long time, be a destination job and build it. And it has the resources, the league to win a national championship. And we were 7 minutes away. We had a double figure lead in the second half of that Michigan game to go to the Final Four. My therapist says I'll someday get over it, but I can remember like every single play of that game. And nobody ever thought we could win a national championship at Loyola. We were right there to get to that game, to get to Monday. And that's where you want to be. You want to be on Monday night playing for it. And this place has been multiple Final Fours, multiple NCAA tournaments. It's wired for success. And that's what I want to be a part of.
Why don't work at Loyola? You know, you had multiple stops, took a break from the head coaching and went back to being an assistant, and then it all came together and it worked at Loyola. Why did it work there, and why do you think you'll be able to replicate that here at Oklahoma?
You know, I just think, we were intentional on a couple of things. I can't dismiss how much of an impact Rick Majerus had on me. You know, working for Rick Majerus, and he's just an amazing coach. The attention to detail, and at Loyola, I talked with Rick before he passed, right when I was getting the job, the first couple of years, and just be intentional with who to recruit. You know, winners, toughness, and don't bend on it. And then your culture's got to be every day. And I think that's something that at Oklahoma, at Loyola, we just set out to win, to get guys that had won before. We had 7 guys on that Loyola, the Final Four team that won state championships, guys that covet winning. And we just were intentional more than I've ever been intentional to recruiting to our offense. And then we were really coaching up the defense. And so And I also think sometimes this too, I think the older you get, when you're young, sometimes you're so much on this trajectory. You're about the trajectory. And the older you get, you're about the journey. And I just, I got the job when I was 41, 42. I'd been in Division I for a long time. I've had a couple stops, and I was just so much into the journey, the people, the servant leadership on everything. And it just became who I am.
Coach, I've heard you talk about culture anytime I hear you speak. Any interview I hear you do, the word culture comes up over and over and over again. So it seems like you view that as the key to your program. And I've heard things and seen things written about you, other coaches talking about the way that you develop the culture. In your mind, is that the most important thing in your program? Clearly, you want great players, right? But developing that culture day in and day out, is that kind of the way you view the best way to success?
There's a lot that goes into it, but like, I think everybody strives for culture, whether you're a business organization, a team, and culture means different things to different people. And what you got to do as a leader is see what your belief system are, your value system on. And the key is every day. It's are you gonna be the one as a leader that every day you're fighting for your culture? And I'll just share with you a little, transitional watershed moment for me as a coach. There's a book called Win Forever by Pete Carroll, the Seattle Seahawks coach. And in there, he talks about when he got fired from the Patriots and he was about to take the USC job over. He said he was reading one of John Wooden's books, and it was about his pyramid of success. And I'm going to walk here because I'm going to go back to my office here. So I'm hoping that my Wi-Fi doesn't go nuts. But
here we go. Could we have Wi-Fi issues? This is the exhilarating content right here.
Big moment right here now. Big moment here that I don't do this. But what I want to show you was that Pete Carroll talked about when he looked at John Wooden's pyramid of success. He goes, I sat down and made my own pyramid based on how I wanted to build the USC program. And it was kind of an epiphany for me. So I literally put the book down and I did my own. So this is my own. You can see it, but and I did it. And the different areas are, your bottom, your belief system, your theme, your environment, and all that. And those are things you believe in the culture. And recruiting is part of this pyramid. To say that culture is more important than the people, no, it's all works together. Recruiting is your lifeblood. Recruiting to have a balance of talent, character, skill, and who fits you. Those are all things that have to be intentional. So the culture, it kind of all goes together, but the people, and then what you do every day and who you surround yourself with. And, so it's a lot that goes into that. But my thing as a leader, you got to fight for it every day, because if you allow slippage, then there's nothing more than a young person sees than being phony or slippage, or, hey, you allowed this over here, but you don't allow that, or, so to me, that's my biggest thing that I feel that I think one of the best compliments one of my former players at Loyola said is, there's not a day that Coach Moser doesn't bring it every day. He fights for that culture every day. And that's what you want as a leader, because everything else you can start to put into place.
Coach, I'm a football guy. I played at OU way back in the day. And when I was a freshman, we won a national championship. So whenever I came in, I saw the seniors and the way they handled business. And I thought, oh my God, I want to be like that. I want to be like those guys. And for kind of like the rest of my time there, that's what I tried to do. And like you just kind of, the framework is there and you try and, carry on the legacy. The transfer portal is, a new reality of collegiate sports. So we've got to view that, but does it make it difficult whenever you've got roster moves in and out, older guys coming in, when you're trying to really ingrain that culture? Does that make it more difficult, or Is it just something that you've got to work through? How do you handle that whole situation?
Teddy, it's an amazing observation because I believe in so much of your upperclassmen dictate your culture. When I was at Loyola, my first recruiting class, when they were seniors, we got invited to the first postseason basketball tournament in 30 years at Loyola. It was the CBI. So it's the NCAA, the NIT, and the CBI. So we got invited to do it. And we decided we were going to do it. We went in it and we won the whole thing. We won the CBI. And it just gave us a taste of that. But those seniors were my first recruiting class. The freshmen in those class that saw those seniors, how they worked and saw the success in the CBI were my seniors on my Final Four team. And then the freshmen that were on that Final Four team were the seniors this year on this team. And it's just so much. You come in and as a freshman, you're looking at how things run, because think about it, we're limited. You're around the players 85% more than you are the coaches. How are you working when the coaches aren't around? How are you acting in the locker room? What's the locker room banter like? What's everybody's driven towards? And the transfer portal. So when you take over a job, a lot of times it's guys you haven't, coached. The transfer portal, we lost a ton. Now, the great thing about Lon is there was 4 players that are still left from the other team: Elijah Harkless, Mo Gibson, Jalen Hill, and Rick Asanza. Those 4 guys have been working their tail off. So that's been a great thing, but they don't know me. We're still learning terminology, systems. And then we were able to sign new guys. So I don't want the transfer portal to be the basis of my recruiting. I still want to build it with young guys, building it up, and use the transfer portal as filling a piece here, filling a piece there. Because I do think continuity is still a building block of your foundation for the future, is continuity, that you get guys in the program. It's hard because guys can leave right away. There's one and dones, two and dones. They're at this level, we're going to be recruiting a higher level talent, but I still think there's so much value of continuity to where they know your system, new guys come in and they just see it. And this is the way we operate.
You mentioned the importance of recruiting. Dead period finally ended, right? Start of June. Just how crazy was the month of June for you and your staff? And I assume recruiting a little different now. Everyone knew Loyola Chicago from that 2018 run to the Final Four, but now you've got the OU on your chest. You got the Jordan brand logo on your chest. Was that a little different?
First of all, I've seen all the other Jordan brands. I mean, being from Chicago, no Jordan brand looks better than with him on red. The crimson, to see him on blue and all that, I'm not for it. I like the Jordan on the Chicago Bulls and the OU. But no, June was nuts. Every single day we had a student athlete on campus, except the weekends that I was able to go recruit. My calendar, it literally had something every single day of the month. And, because we got a lot to be proud of. We got a lot to be proud of, a lot to show them off. And the other thing is that I think I'm speaking for all coaches is the last 14 months, we built relationships through Zoom. And it just isn't the same as sitting face to face in a room, walking around, having a conversation, and where you're with them in person. And that's what I'm so much about, is building relationships. And that was just so it was so much better to be into this month of June, to where the dead period was over and you can start, building relationships again and getting a feel for each other and a feel for the place, live. And I'm looking forward to that and continuing to do that. We now enter the next phase of the July period. I leave tomorrow for the July evaluation period. Now, we can't talk to them, but we can at least see the guys with their own eyes, because there is something about, these mixtapes. Oh my gosh. You can see a guy make 5 threes on a mixtape, and then you find out, he was 5 for 42 from the field. And these mixtapes are deceiving. So, I like to watch everything. I like to watch warmups. I like to see him interact with his teammates. I like to see him interact with the coach. I like to see the little things of the game that your eyes can still tell you. So I'm really looking forward to being back in the gym this month of July, watching these guys with my own eyes. And I love that part of the evaluation process.
You've had a lot of curveballs over the last year. I mean, the COVID stuff, a city change, a job change, and now we got the name, image, and likeness stuff. And it's gonna be different. It's gonna, maybe some people think better, more difficult. I don't know, but it's something that you guys have to kind of embrace and navigate. And what's been the plan so far?
The plan, I love the two words you just put together: embrace it and let's navigate it. I love those two words you just put together, because it is here. It's here to stay. I do think, I am for student athletes being able to take advantage of their time. The amount of money is being made that they can do it. But I also think we need to manage it, and we can embrace it, but manage it and navigate it to where it's not going to affect your locker room. It's not going to affect your locker room in terms of, any kind of squabble, or this person's over that person, or, what he's doing here, or time management, because, there still is a lot to navigate in time management for these young guys. Academics for the first time at a college level, the travel, the pressures, this. Now we're navigating how much time they're going to spend on this. We need to. It's all new to everybody, but I do think time management, to have balance in your life, that you're now all of a sudden, now somebody's not just so far behind academically, because at a place like Oklahoma, we're going to have a lot of pros in the different sports, but you're still going to have a percentage of that are not. That, to get a college degree is still at the utmost importance. And but I do think we need to navigate to have balance in their life. But I think we need to embrace it. These young guys, the opportunities, and women, these men and women, to have this opportunity to make money on their image and likeness, it's overdue. It's overdue, and we're going to have some bumps in the road, like any time you have a drastic change, but we got to navigate it. Find that, and once we hit those bumps, just like any problem in your life, figure it out. How can we best manage through this bumps and to get back on track? And I think we're going to have some of that. We're going to have some of that with this, but it's overdue, and we need to embrace it, and we are embracing it. Oklahoma's prepared. Man, they've been preparing this for a year. We just had a meeting on it with our administrator, our marketing department, and man, they've been preparing for a year. We're as well positioned at University of Oklahoma as anybody in the country with what they're doing for these student athletes. And the credit to OU's athletic department to be this prepared.
Porter, let's talk a little bit about the roster. The first time I spoke to you, you told me that I believe you guys had 3 guys in skill development drills. A lot has happened since then. You have filled out the group. You get the Groves brothers from Eastern Washington. You get Jordan Goldwire in from Duke. Marvin Johnson, a guy that was an All-Ohio Valley player. How are you feeling about how the roster has come together?
I thought we did a good job in the spring. I mean, it's a daunting task. I believe the Big 12 is positioned to be the number 1 conference in the country again, the national championship. And you're basically building a team in spring through Zoom and building your whole roster. But I feel good about the guys. Rick Asanza, the 7-1 center, he put his name in the transfer portal after the workouts. And you know what? To his credit, we were really talking face to face. I told him some truths about where he was at, and I did a rare thing. Usually guys in the transfer portal, you don't allow to keep working out. And we said, Rick, I said, keep working out. Keep working out with us while you're in the portal, navigating, trying to find a place. That I think with some of the guys we brought in, he was going to get playing time. At the time, I didn't. And to his credit, and to our staff's credit, we kind of mutually let him keep working out. And it was like a light bulb that went off on him. He was really working hard, getting better. He's never played before. He only had 1 basket in his career. He needs to play. And he's really starting to run and do some things at 7-1. So he's back. So now we have 4 back. The new guys, the Groves brothers, they they just love to play, man. They're in the gym all the time. I think this fan base is really going to like them. You know, Tanner is unique. You know, he can pick and pop and shoot it. He can duck you in. He's crafty. He's got great footwork in the post. He's got a high IQ. He can pass and facilitate. We like to really space the floor. A lot of times bring 5 out with it. So I like him. And Jacob's a tough kid, man. He can shoot it. He's almost 6'9" now. You know, Jordan Goldwire, he's had a tweaked groin for the last 10 days, but his early workouts, he's an elite defender now. He really can lock you up. He facilitates his offensive game. You know, he's going to get more of an opportunity to show and display his offensive game. He was really in charge of facilitating, but he played at a high level. I tell you, one guy that's really, I mean, the Mo, EJ Harkless, and Jalen Hill have really played well. Jalen has really done some nice things. I think the freshmen are coming in and learning. They've actually had their best week so far this week, just like normal freshmen do. It's just a new world for them. You know, we got AK, our junior college player, is really athletic. Ethan Chargois, he's doing some really nice things. So we're coming together. I like the group. I like the character. I like how they're working. We just got to continue coming together.
You mentioned the Big 12 conference you think is positioned to be the best in the country. Is the conference and your roster, is it a style match from what you're used to for you coaching? You know, you always have to change with your roster and your competition a little bit, but kind of viewing the rest of the league, does it suit you as a coach going up against those teams?
Absolutely. I mean, I've competed against that at Loyola, but like you look at the Missouri Valley is an unbelievably well coached teams. I mean, their strategy, you look at all the coaches that have come out of the Missouri Valley over the years: Matt Painter, Dana Altman, Mark Turgeon. I think Bill Self was at Tulsa. You look at Tubby Smith was in that league. Bruce Weber was in that league. Just over and over, there's guys in that league. Greg McDermott at Creighton. It's a phenomenal coach league. The scouting, the preparation, and you know, this league is so well coached. I think someone just said there's 6 coaches that have been in the Final Four out of the 10 teams. And it's a extremely well coached league. But I also think it's a very physical defensive league. I look at some of the teams defensively, you know, Kansas, Baylor, Texas now with Beard, Bruce Weber, the way they defend everyone. I mean, Coach Huggins at West Virginia. I mean, it's a grind defensively. And that's what you saw a lot in the Valley of the defensive teams. And you think about the Valley, we kind of talked about that league. 11 out of the last 12 first round games, the Valley was 11-1. It's a heck of a stat. Actually, now it's 12-1 because Drake won their first round. We both won our first round game last year. The only loss they had was Bradley lost to Michigan State, who became a Final Four team. They were 10-0 in first round games. So that's an amazing stat. So this league, you got to be ready for the elite defensive teams in this league. The physicality of the Big 12 is just in the recruiting. You're getting some of the best players in the country. The transfers that came in this league this year, I think the Big 12 did as good as any conference in the country in the portal.
Okay, Coach, I'm gonna put you in a pickle with this one. After doing some digging, I want to know what you're more passionate about: the shell drill or the culture wall?
The culture. The shell drill's a piece of the culture. I mean, the shell defensively, there's just a lot of little things. I tell you, if our guys think that I'm attention to detail, they should have seen Rick Majerus at practice. Rick would stop at every pass. We'd pass, stop, pass, stop, pass, stop. He was a perfectionist deluxe. I mean, he used to tell me this. Rick would come up to me, he's like, Porter, I got to walk out of the gym. Just let him play for like 10 minutes. We're not getting in any condition because I'm stopping it too much. So I'm going to walk out like I'm taking a phone call and just let it go up and down for like 10 minutes so they at least get some conditioning in. He was amazing. But you know what? He also said this. He said, Porter, coaches that allow slippage in practice, allow it in games. He goes, if you want to be fundamental, if you want to be good at the details of the game, then you got to emphasize them. Then you got to coach them. And that was one of the people ask me, what was one of the things that I took from Rick Majerus? The attention to detail, the shell, all that. But his teams from practice to games had the least amount of slippage that I've ever been around. Sometimes you'd be in practice and all of a sudden there's a huge slippage in the game and guys are like, well, God, you guys have been doing that. His slippage, it was because of the attention to detail. But, I think the shell is a small part of our bigger culture. So I'm going the second one.
I like it. Details, man. That's always the difference in high level sports. What are we going to see? Just kind of explain to us the product, because I know a lot of people are excited. We want to get back to filling up that gym whenever we're playing at home. You've talked about it. You've talked about getting people out there. What are people going to expect to see whenever they start to show up and watch this team play?
I think the misnomer that people always talk about, they're like, we were number 1 in the country in defense last year, and they talk about that. But like, to me, the mantra that I tell our guys, the mantra that I'm talking to recruits about is this statement right here. Our defense creates our offense. We want to run. We have this mantra called win the first 3 steps, whether it's transition defense or transition offense, win the first 3 steps. So if we get a steal, if we get a missed rebound, a stop, we want to win the first 3 steps in advance. So I really want, people that are going to see us winning those first 3 steps, getting out and running off misses, running off turnovers. That people talk about like the pace. Well, we held the teams. We had the longest defensive shot clock time, like in the country. Us in Virginia, we're holding teams to long. We want to run. We want to do it. I love utilizing the 3-point shot. We got to continue to rep out our threes in practice. We got to continue to get better this offseason and through threes. But I really want this mantra of defense creates offense, run. You're going to see a connected team. I think you're going to see guys connected, fired up for each other, pulling for each other. This fan base is exciting. I tell you, I went over to that OU spring football game. I've been to the softball games. I went to a baseball game. I love the fan base, the passion that this has. And they're going to deserve somebody who's going to get out and play with high energy and act high energy. And that's what you're going to see from us.
Well, Coach, we really appreciate the time. And I will say this, it is good to see that you're still in good spirits despite your Cubs losing 10 in a row.
Ooh.
Okay. We had to go there. We couldn't.
I had to. I had to. 10 in a row, Porter. What in the world? What? Jake Arrieta's fallen off a cliff.
Oh, did you see the grand slam last night? You see that the grand slam? I know. But you know what? I don't know. We're positioning ourselves, and whether it's a fire sale or I got faith. Hey, I've lived through a lot worse as a Cubs fan my whole life. It's just the recent Cubs fans have been spoiled. But you grow up having a thicker skin of years of this. So we're just going through a little bump. We'll be fine. You got to.
Something's going
to happen out of this. You what?
You got to reevaluate their pyramid, man.
Yeah. They're mixing around the building blocks around. So we'll get there.
Well, Porter, we really appreciate your time, man. And we're incredibly excited to see where you take the program, and just can't wait to see what you guys do this season. Appreciate you.
Gabe and Teddy, thanks, man. And now that everything's back, opened up, come on in. Let's meet in person and come to a practice or a workout. Hope to see you soon.
Absolutely. Thanks, man.
See you guys.